Peter Santo here once again as we start off this all-new episode on a busy Friday of Wellesley Sports. Kicking off things at the high school gym, boys volleyball will be taking on the Mustangs of Norwood. Winning the opening set in a close match, 25-23, the Raiders look to take even more control of this game as we head to the second set. The Raiders do exactly that, taking a quick lead here off a Jan Noack spike. But the Mustangs also keep pace early on as the next 3 points go to Norwood. And off this point by Jacoby Ware, the Mustangs are only down 5-4. But the Raiders gain momentum and start to pull away, and off this resounding kill by Wilmont-Saurus, Wellesley has an 11-6 edge. That lead quickly goes to 13-6 off this Ben Burns ace, forcing the Mustangs to call a timeout. After that break, it's Norwood who starts to cut away at their deficit once again, and off this stuffing point by Jeremy Mackey, the Mustangs are still down, but it's only a Raiders 14-11 lead. Ben Burns sparks a much-needed Wellesley run here off a huge kill. That gives Wellesley back the advantage, up 19-14, and the Raiders don't look back after that, taking care of the second match as well, by the set score of 25-16. So, carrying that 2-0 lead into the third, and looking for this to be the last set of the game, Wellesley eyes the sweep, while the Mustangs fight to stay alive and force another set. But early on, with a consistent offensive attack, it's Wellesley who builds a huge lead. And as we fast forward through this third, we're that much closer to a sweep, as the Raiders look to be in control, leading 17-6. But the whole tempo of the game would suddenly change here when the Mustangs respond, taking advantage of some points that would go their way as the Raiders help them out somewhat, but they would also fight back with points like these on this clutch stuff by Damari Walker. And as the Raiders take a timeout, that one solid lead is now only 19-15 Raiders, off a Norwood 9-2 run. So again we jump ahead, the Raiders so close to that deciding 25th point, but it's just out of reach as Wellesley has been outscored 16-7, as Jared Houston's spike here makes it a Mustangs 24-22 deficit. Now it's just 1 point separating these two teams until Wellesley finally gets it done, with this Wilmont-Saurus clutch kill, and the Raiders get that sweep. But it sure wasn't easy as Norwood stuck around, before Wellesley was able to take care of business. 25-23, 25-16, and 25-23 would be the set scores here as the Raiders improved to 7-4, winning by a final 3-0 over Norwood. Staying with a busy Friday, we head to Lee Field, where Raiders softball would have their hands full with a tough Braintree squad, a team who would boast a solid pitcher in Aaron Berry. Wellesley's bats would struggle as Berry would dominate by way of the strikeout, but Julia Pearl on the mound for the Raiders would do just fine on her own end. And backed up with some key defense, we have a tight 1-0 Womps advantage heading into the 5th inning. This top 5th would be when Braintree's bats come alive here, and that definitely helps the Womps to pull away. Jesse Tenaglia, with 2 runners on base, quickly brings them home on this bloop fly ball that drops into shallow right field. And that would end up being a 2-run double for Tenaglia, making it a 3-0 Braintree lead. Still in this 5th, but now a Braintree 4-run advantage, pitcher Erin Berry helps out her own cause, driving it to deep left for the RBI double, and it's 5-0 Womps. Siobhan Donovan then bloops it into center, and the ball is bobbled just enough for the runner on second to score, before the Raiders are able to get this third out of the inning as Allie Dillon gets tagged out at third base. But by then the damage is done, and the Womps lead 6-0. Bottom 6th, Raiders looking for that rally, get the bases juiced with only 1 out. Linny Young gets a tight pitch inside, her right leg flinches up and gets hit by the pitch, but the ump decides to be really picky here, and instead of a run coming across and Young earning a spot at first base, Young gets called back to the batter's box. Doesn't count, much to the disappointment of Raiders coach Hunt, as the argument really is, whether Young lifted her leg or not, that pitch was way inside and was going to hit Young anyways. Instead of 6-1, it's back to 6-0, and Young then lines out to third for the bang-bang double play as the runner is doubled up as well. And say what you want, but that questionable call was a momentum killer, as the Raiders come away with nothing. So to the 7th we go, last 3 outs for Wellesley. Elizabeth Dew keeps the inning alive with a solid double. Sarah Farnsworth then brings Dew home, driving it right back up the middle for the RBI. And now once again it's a 6-1 deficit. But Linny Young would ground out to short, and Farnsworth would be called out on yet another close call, and that brings to an end a frustrating game for Wellesley. It would be close for most of the game, but the 5th inning would be the game changer, as Braintree would put 5 more runs across and Wellesley could not erase the deficit. Tough loss here, as the Womps take this one by the final, Braintree 6, Raiders 1. The very next day though, this Raider team would quickly forget that loss, as they face the Natick Redhawks here on Saturday. Just a solid all-around game here on both sides for Wellesley, as they quickly build a 2-0 lead here. And on the mound, well, Olivia Hunter is just lights out. And so when the Redhawks tie it up at 2 apiece in the third, Wellesley makes sure that tie doesn't last long at all. having an absolutely fantastic day at the plate. Elizabeth Dew would get things started in this bottom third, hustling down to first and is safe, allowing the runner to score before being tagged out at second, helping the Raiders retake the lead 3-2. Olivia Hunter would continue to scorch the corners, retiring batter after batter by way of the K. Swinging, looking, it didn't matter. Hunter just dominated. When Natick would get that rare runner in scoring position, Elizabeth Dew would shine defensively as well, as Dew snares the shallow fly before it has a chance to drop in, and the Raiders would then get out of that inning with, you guessed it, another Hunter strikeout, and the Raiders still hold on to this 3-2 lead. To the bottom of the fifth we go, now leading 4-2. Elizabeth Dew adds to her 4-for-4 day, lining it up the middle, driving in 2 more Raiders for her third RBI, and it's a 6-2 Wellesley lead. After 5 played here, that lead would now be 7-2 until the 6th. It's bases loaded with Raiders, and Elizabeth Dew says why not, and with one swing of the bat, ropes it deep over everyone. With a stand-up, bases-clearing triple, it's 10-2 Raiders, with 6 of those runs coming from Dew's bat that is currently on fire. As 2 more runs come across, Wellesley's lead is now 10, so the mercy rule goes into effect here in this bottom of the 6th, and the Raiders put together a great team win. Olivia Hunter's 12 strikeouts and Elizabeth Dew's 6 RBIs would be more than enough to help the Raiders dominate the Redhawks by the final 12-2. Well, that does it for this episode, but stay right with Wellesley Media as we keep you covered with all Raider sports. If you missed any games and highlights, check us out on demand at wellesleymedia.org. Our YouTube and Facebook pages at Wellesley Public Media, and right here on Comcast 9 and Verizon 39.